Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 13, The Behavior of a Perfect Person, text number 6. Nabi Nandad Dhruvam Rityum Adhruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalam Param Pritiksheta Bhutanam Pravavapyayam Abhinanded Dhruvam Mrityum Dhruvam Vasya Jivitam Kalamparam Pratiksheta Bhutana Pravavapyayam. Mataji. Not abhinandet. One should praise. Dhruvam, sure. Mrityum, death. Dhruvam, not sure. Va, either. Asya, of this body. Jivitam, the duration of life. Kalam, eternal time. Param, supreme. Pratiksheta, one must observe. Bhutanam, of the living entities. Prabhava, manifestation. Apyayam, disappearance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished, and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Purport. The living entities in the material world, not only at the present, but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problem of birth and death. Some stress death and pointed to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of the material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore sings in his Gitavali, Anadi Karma Pale, Padi Bavarnava Jale Tari Bare Nadeki Upaya. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Therefore, the creation of the present millennium, before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor. And within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva praliyate. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering unto Him. Navinande dhruvam rityum adhruvam vasya jivitam kalam param pratiksheta bhutana prabhavayam. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor, which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Namo Vishnuvadaya Krishna Prasthaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Sadharane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Anadidvam nirgunatvat paratmayam avyam shrira sopikontiya nakaroti nanalipyate. That those who could actually see with the eyes of eternity can see that the soul is eternal, transcendental, and beyond the modes of material nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul is neither entangled, the soul is neither, what's that? Or entangled. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyam sharira stopikontiya. The karoti neither is doing anything nor is he entangled. This philosophy may not seem very interesting to us, the fact that we're eternal, that it doesn't really make a big difference to us, eternal, temporary, whatever. Actually, we're so much absorbed in fear of death that if someone we pay millions of dollars just if we live 1 year longer in this body. But when someone says we're eternal, oh, big deal, so what? What else is new? That's called delusion. We're so much afraid of dying, but we never die. And as it explains here, punak punascharvita charavanana. Not only will we die once, but we're going to die unlimited times if we stay around here. If we don't like the fact that we're going to die soon, well, don't worry. After you take birth and you're a little baby, you're going to die soon after that too. And then again, and again, and again. But what doesn't bother us? As long as we can get some enjoyment here, everything's all right. As long as that drop of water in the desert is coming, life is good. It's the same thing as that famous story when Indra was cursed to become a pig. And he wound up in a pigsty full of stool. And he had his nice pig wife with a beautiful curly tail. His piglet of the year. And he had so many beautiful little piglets, who were eating lots and lots of stool, so he was proud of them. And Indra, in the form of a pig, was enjoying life. Rent was free, didn't have to pay for anything. Food was plentiful, it was all free. Children, education free. Everything was, this was the life. He woke up in the morning, didn't have to go to work. And there was no restrictions. No one was complaining that he was getting fatter. He could eat as much as he wanted. He could sleep as much as he wanted. No one ever woke him up. Practically no one ever wanted to get near him. There were no restrictions for sex life. And he knew how to, practically speaking, he was one of the most fearsome pigs in the block. So no one got near him. So life was good. And then one day Brahma showed up and said, Indra, we need you back. We didn't realize what a good manager you were of the universe. Could you come back? And the pig, Indra in the form of a pig said, no way. This is the life. Nothing is heaven. This is better than heaven. So Brahma tried to convince him. He said, no way. Rent's free. I don't have to work. Look at my wife. Whew, look at that tail. Look at those kids. Wow, they're getting big. I'm not leaving. So Brahma took his sword, cut off the head of his wife, cut off the head of the children, and then said, you're next. And Indra said, well, on second thought, maybe I need a new job. When's the next plane going back? So in this material world, people are believing that they actually got a good deal. Is that even when we go to hell, we're going to try and figure out how to enjoy there. We think, well, it's being dragged across those thorny trees is a little unpleasant, but it's pretty warm here. Look at me, I'm getting a tan. Somehow or another, even in hell, one will try to find some enjoyment. So that's the material world. Everyone gets used to whatever position they're in, and they think this is the best position I could possibly have, in spite of all the inconveniences. And then, mrityu sarvaharasthaham, not only we die, but when we die, everything is taken away from us. The only thing we get is the reactions to our past sinful activities. You can't take anything except the reactions. Maybe pious activities, maybe sinful activities, but in the material world, pious is sinful. Ultimately, it means that one has to take another body again. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was a little disturbed seeing Krishna in this form, he didn't say, wow, look at Krishna, you have so many nice forms. What about this form? Can you tell me where you got this one? Oh, he said, Akyaki me ko bhavan ugarupa. Namosite deva varaprasida vigyatami chami bhavantam adyam nahi prajanami tava pravritim. Akyaki, what's going on? Akyaki me, surprise. Akyaki me ko bhavan ugra rupo. Where this horrible form of yours comes from? Now that's pretty insulting if you walk into a room and someone says, my God, you look horrible today. When's the last time you went to sleep? Is that your hair or is that a mop you have on your head? You get insulted. So Arjuna was insulting Krishna. Akyaki me ko bhavan ugra. Ugra means horrible. Rupo, your horrible form. Bhigyatam ichami bhavantam adyam. I would like to know what's going on. Where did you get this horrible form? Agyaki me ko bhavan ugarupo namostu te deva varaprasida bhigyatam ichami bhavantam adyam nahi prajanami teva pravritim. Nihi prajanami prava pravritim. What is the purpose? I mean, you were my friend just a few minutes ago, and now you kind of turn into like Dracula or Frankenstein or something. And there's not even a full moon yet. What's going on? What's the purpose? Is this a costume you just put on to scare me? Test if I was going to be, afraid in the battlefield or something. So then Krishna told Arjuna, what is this form? Kalosmi lokashe krit pravrido lokansamahardamiha pravritak vitepi tvam nabhavishanti sarve yevasita pratyukesha yoda. Time I am, and I've come here to destroy everyone. So in case you haven't noticed, there's something killing everyone, including ourselves. Now we may think, well, maybe I'm so young, maybe I'm even growing older for all I know, younger for all I know. But we can guarantee you, no one in this world is growing younger. Everyone is growing older, and growing older means that one is going one day closer to death, to having to leave this body. And when death comes, you can't say, well, I did do my exercise today, so I feel pretty good. Maybe you can come back tomorrow. As that famous story goes, when the wealthy man told his servant to go and buy something in the market. So the servant went to the market, and when he was at the market, he saw death personified, smiling at him. So he immediately ran back to the master and said, Master, I went to the market to buy what you wanted, but death was there waiting for me, smiling at me. So the master said, well, I'll find out what's going on. So he went to the market, and sure enough, death was right at the market. And the master asked Death, what were you doing smiling at my servant? Because before, the master told the servant, don't worry about it, I'll go to the market and just go to this other village and get what I need. So when the master went to the market and asked Death, why were you smiling at my servant? He said, well, actually, I had an appointment at this other market with him. And I was very surprised to see him here. And that was the market that the master sent the servant to instead. So, at the time of death, no one can, we have an appointment with death, we're going to have to keep it. So Krishna says, everyone here, except for you, the Pandavas, everyone's going to be killed. So all of us, today, tomorrow, we have to leave this body sometimes. Both with the rising and the setting of the sun. With the rising, udan nasti jyanya so, tasyarte kahita, tasyarte, what is that, Ananta? What is it? Tasyarte nityam uttama shloka vartaya. Both with the rising and the setting of the sun, everyone's day is lost except for one who is engaged in glorifying the all-good Supreme Personality of Godhead. So people may wonder, what does this mean? That everyone is dying, you look like you're dying too. When death comes, it doesn't look like you're dancing afterwards. No, actually the soul doesn't die. But because he's accepted the temporary bodies, therefore it appears that he's dying, and under the laws of time, he has to take one body after another with no solution. People are trying to solve their problems, but actually the problem is that even if they solve all the problems, even if you become, as healthy as possible, get all the money in the bank, everything is there for you, whatever you want, you get mystic powers, you snap your fingers, and all the apsaras come from Indraloka to feed you grapes. Even you can do that, still we have to die anyhow, and then take another body and start all over again. Still, there's nothing really gained. And whatever problems we have that we solve, we'll get a whole different set of problems in the next lifetime. As a matter of fact, the more we get here in this lifetime, the more facilities we get that are not used in Krishna's service, then the more we'll have to suffer in our next lifetime because of misuse of Krishna's energy. Some people are thinking they're gaining, they're just gaining problems. That's, well, they're gaining. Either they're solving the problems now, but the very solution to their problems, Prahlad Maharaj said, is going to create more problems that they have to solve in the future. And not only this body, but the whole material existence, one body after another is just solving problems, and the problems are never solved. We've been here since time immemorial, and we took birth. Did it mean here? Did it mean that our teeth were perfect throughout our whole life? Because in my last lifetime, I brushed my teeth every day. So in this lifetime, my teeth are always perfect. Doesn't matter what I eat, what I do. My teeth have no problems whatsoever. Every time I look in the mirror, I can't see my teeth because they're so brilliant. They just reflect into the mirror and I go blind. My teeth are good, my eyes are getting weak. No, actually the material world is just a place of solving problems, and they're never solved. Even if we think we've solved most of them in this lifetime, then we die to come back to another set of problems. Therefore, one should see time as Krishna, as the time factor, and instead of trying to fight against time, try to, would you get that verse? Ayu harati vaipumsam udanasto triyanya so tasyarte nita yakshano nita Ushokavartaya. So but with the rising and the setting of the sun, our duration of life is going to be lost. Say one day older, Prabhupada said one day closer to death. But if we glorify Krishna, then gradually we'll wake up our eternal body, spiritual body, and then we can go back to the spiritual world and we'll never die again. We'll get an eternal body. We are an eternal body, but we'll wake up to who we actually are. Rather than serving this temporary body as the supreme, hoping that we're going to make a perfect sacrifice in this lifetime, serve this dead body with all our heart, might, and soul, and learn to love, to serve other bodies as if they were actually ours. Rather than just uselessly trying to serve these bodies, try to engage in Krishna's service so that we can avoid having to take another body. There is no solution, material solution. There's only problems. There may be temporary solutions, but they're not the real solution. The real solution is become conscious of Krishna. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Sound of someone leaving their body.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, you mentioned the fear of death. Is this, if you, how to say this, pronounce, I mean, if you come in contact to this fear, how is this trained? How does someone overcome? Is it by
getting out of material existence?
Sorry, again?
Becoming self-realized, finding out who we actually are. If we think we're this body, and we think we're going to die, then of course we'll be fearful. If we realize we're eternal and we'll never die, then why would we be fearful? So we have to give up certain things like our false. We have to get knowledge, so we get out of ignorance. Then we can give up our false ego. We give up our false ego. We can give up hankering and lamentation. Then we won't give up abhiveshitas yet, and we can give up this fear, absorption, material existence, and fear of death. So without transcendental knowledge, without be willing to give up our false ego, without be willing to give up attachment and aversion, without being willing to give up our absorption, material consciousness, then there is no solution to fear. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande.